The price of Bitcoin is currently $20,260. The value of UST, oh, no, it's not UST anymore, is it? It's USDC these days, the one that we thought was safe. It's going scatty right now. I've been trading this today, despite it being a Saturday, despite me meant to be taking a day off today. I've been trading this. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my current open trade that I've got on USTs. It's not UST, I keep saying UST. It's the PTSD of last time this happened, and I had a fair bit of UST, and it went very badly wrong. However, this time it's probably going to go a lot better, and I do believe there is a trade to be had right now on the value of USDC, not UST. Anyway, another thing that I've done today is I've opened an Ethereum long position that we're going to talk about in today's video, why I've done that, what I'm doing in terms of my trades right now. And of course, if you are interested in what's to come, drop a like on today's video. Today's like goal is 1,000 likes. We won't hit it. We don't stand a chance at hitting it. So if you wouldn't mind, do help me a little bit and just drop a like on the video. Would appreciate that. Same time, if you're new to the channel, my name is Jordan. I trade cryptocurrencies here on the internet every single day, apart from the days where I don't, because they do come around every now and again, especially if I crash my car. Anyway, without further ado, let's crack straight on. Of course, the value of UST today, USDC today, is kind of going a bit scatty. Now, if we look at the current what's going on with UST, it's not UST, it's USDC. 0.94. It's a $1 stablecoin. It's meant to be worth $1. Currently sat 6 cents below peg. That means there is essentially, a decent move to the upside should it happen. Now, as it sits right now, I'm currently long on the price of UST. If we look at my actual position right here, I'm not using cross 50x. I'm using like 2x leverage on this. I've got a $200,000 position. In fact, I don't know why that's decreased in size. That was significantly more earlier. That was a 200 Oh, no, it's not. That's why. There, because it's depegged. I've got 205,000 coins that cost me $188,000. So that explains that one. My brain is still not with it, is it? Anyway, in terms of that current open trade, it's about $4,000 in profit, as you can see right here. So that's pretty decent. But why have I chosen to take out a long position? Well, let me explain. If we look at today's cryptocurrency news, I think it's this article right here. Circle's USDC depegs after $2.7 billion redemption in under 24 hours. There's a bit of a bank run going on USDC. Now, on the main channel tomorrow, you'll see the probably most in-depth video that I've made all this year. Assuming that, again, I don't crash a car because I'm racing again. But tomorrow, it should go pretty well. And you should see a video on the channel that is going to be very in-depth about what is currently going on here with this whole debacle. It's going to be an interesting one, so make sure you do subscribe to the main channel. But essentially, over $2 billion has been redeemed. That's caused the price of the coin to collapse, essentially. And then that kicked off a whole depegging event because basically Circle had money in SVB, which is Silicon Valley Bank. Now, at the same time, Silicon Valley Bank is potentially going to get bailed out, or the UK's subsidiary of Silicon Valley Bank is going to get bailed out by the Bank of London, not the Bank of England. How does that affect things? Well, it means that I'd be surprised if the USA doesn't bail them out as well. It would be quite shocking if they didn't, because it could really kickstart a whole bad series of events, because 65,000 startups use Silicon Valley Bank in order to bank with them. 65,000 startups may have lost all of their money up to $250,000. If you keep more than $250,000 in a US bank account, you are not covered by the federal banking insurance. That's why, same in the UK actually, you get £90,000 here in the UK. Never store more than £90,000 in an individual bank account, because you can't get that money back if the bank goes bust. So just bear that in mind. Again, if you do have personal savings right now, don't pool them all in one account, spread them amongst a bunch of different accounts, or just buy a house instead and then rent it out or do some property development. Either way, currently the price of Ethereum is actually looking pretty decent. We've got bouncy. That looks decent to me. Now, in terms of how Bitcoin is performing, well, Bitcoin is looking pretty decent as well, because again, we're at these lows right now, and is it likely going to continue to the downside? It really depends on what the news is on Silicon Valley Bank. But essentially, if a bailout is going to happen, you'll see Bitcoin's price go all the way back up to $23,000 as soon as that news comes. That's why I'm positioned long right now. The likelihood of a ferocious downtrend at this point in time is almost as likely as a significant break to the upside. So I want to point out that on Bitcoin, looking for it to lose this level down here, which is $19,500, we're going down to $18,000. And at that point, I'm going short. I'm shorting below that level. I'm not currently long on Bitcoin. The only long position I've got open right now is one on Ethereum, and I will likely close this in the next 24-hour period because it's currently sat $2,300 in a profit, and I've already taken $751 worth of profit on that trade. So that's pretty decent, and I'm just scalping right now. I'm not doing any major trades, I'm just scalping. Same as on USDC, on my USDC trade, I am scalping this. I'm kind of hoping that it does just shoot back up to $1, but failing that, if it drops below my entry, I'm not fussed. My liquidation point is in like the 50-cent range. So unless this whole thing just completely collapses, I'm fine, and I don't think it will collapse. It is ultimately the largest stablecoin other than Tether, with essentially the way that it's working right now. You'll already probably know most of this, but about $3.3 billion of the bank's, or rather of Circle's money was locked up in the bank that has gone bust. At the same time, it's likely that they'll be able to redeem 50% of those funds. But I'm going to explain more about this in tomorrow's video because I've done a really in-depth one on this. I'm just looking at this right now and thinking, this is an amazing, amazing opportunity. I've always said, when a stablecoin drops, as long as it's not an algorithmic stablecoin, as long as it's not an algorithmic stablecoin, if a stablecoin drops, they will probably return the peg, whether it be 24 hours, 48 hours. It doesn't really matter to these people because essentially they just need to buy the price back up. They just need to buy through the order book. Now, if you actually look on the order book right now, how much money it would cost to buy the price all the way back up to $1, I can show you that here on BYBIT. Now, you'd have to do this across multiple exchanges, but if we reduce it to around here, we should be able to scroll all the way to the upside. No, we can't. But essentially, if you wanted to increase the price, no, I'm looking at the downside, that's why. Look to the upside, up to 97 cents, it would cost you $13 million. This is a company with over $40 billion in assets. If you think that they're just going to let the peg slide and just decline, that's insanity. That doesn't make any sense. The only thing that I've got a slight concern about this weekend is if we look at the price of Bitcoin right now, currently trading at $20,315, and then we look at where the CME gap is currently sitting. CME gap currently sits at $20,090, which means that it's likely in the next 24-hour period we come back down on the price of Bitcoin. Don't get too bullish on the markets right now. We're not in the bullish situation. We're in a situation where a bounce seems likely. However, it's not guaranteed. And of course, at what level do we expect a bounce, and where would that bounce take us to? Well, we know that we have a level of liquidity right here on the price of Bitcoin. If we actually look at where these liquidity levels sit, you would say that looking at these levels here, it's weird as this camera, it's focusing on me in the reflection. Either way, $20,750. A break of $20,750 would mean that essentially we confirm a W reversal breakout. It's just I'd hope that we drop back to the downside to close that CME gap, because we've now closed the other CME gap down at $19,800. We don't really have any gaps below until you get down to about $3,000, and there's a gap down there. But apart from that, there are no major CME gaps open on the price of Bitcoin. That means that the skies are clear for a move ahead. Now, I'm happy about the markets right now, mainly because I hold Tether. I don't hold USDC. And I spent all of my Tether on assets like cars and houses. So I don't really have any stable coins. So I'm not really so worried about the market. And in terms of Bitcoin, I just continually buy more and more and more and more, because it's one of them things where I want to hold as much Bitcoin as possible. I don't really care about what the price is now. It could be $10,000. It could be $25,000. It could be $40,000. And I'd still be saying I'm buying Bitcoin. Why do I consistently buy Bitcoin? Because over time, you have a system here that's consistently growing in users, and a system that consistently grows in terms of its user base and in terms of the liquidity that they're putting into it will continually grow over a long period of time. What a lot of people seem incapable of doing, and it shocks me every single time, is if we look at this right here and we go over to the monthly chart on the price of Bitcoin, when you just zoom out, it doesn't really matter. Like, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. It's just one of them things. It goes up and it goes down, but over time, it resets its floor higher every single time. And if we're to look at this, if I'm to zoom in a little bit and just draw you a level of support on this chart right here, if we were to take all the way from here, you'd say, like, worst case scenario, Bitcoin comes down to this level. That seems pretty unlikely, to be honest, and I've not really plotted it with any degree of accuracy at all. So just ignore what I've just said. But at the same time, we do have major levels of liquidity down here that, of course, are waiting to buy the price up. I don't think that'll happen. The key thing would be, look, if we're to start losing this range range again here and dropping into that $16,000 range, $10,000 does start opening up. However, I just don't see a scenario where that happens. I see a more likely scenario being everybody gets tempted into short positions from a bunch more major FUD, and then the FUD ends because the real market takes over. In reality, is the world headed for a recession? It's 50-50. Like, if they let Silicon Valley Bank go down completely, it's quite likely, unfortunately, that we do head for a recession. And that's a scenario where Bitcoin goes to $10,000. However, if they bail out Silicon Valley Bank in the USA, or a buyer comes along and takes it up, good things should happen. But I'm going to explain more about this in tomorrow's video, not on this channel, on the main channel, That Martini Guy, so please do stay tuned for that. Got a couple more news stories that I want to discuss in today's video, one of which would be this. If we go over to here, JP Morgan is replacing Silvergate as a challenge for the crypto industry. According to a research report released on Thursday by JP Morgan, the failure of the bank Silvergate, popularly known as the cryptocurrency bank, and closure of Silvergate exchange network will represent difficulties for cryptocurrency sector. This is true, but there are other banking services available, and cryptocurrency companies are very adaptable. These bank failures don't surprise me, because they all do fractional reserve banking. So when you place a deposit with that bank, then they loan out your money to somebody else and then say that they default on that loan. Well, how does the bank get the money back? They can't. That's just how it is. So the fractional reserve banking, centralized entities, they are quite dangerous. Another thing in today's cryptocurrency news would be that Ethereum gas fee skyrockets as users scramble out of USDC. We saw this earlier, the gas fees spiking insanely high. In fact, if we look at the chart for how gas fees performed, you can see here, it spiked up by, 400% earlier? 500%? No, it's 500%, is that? No, it's not. That's 800%. Gas fees were 800% earlier today. It's been a while since we've seen that. Ethereum's popular today, isn't it? Anyway, overall take on the market right now is nothing's going to happen for the next 24 hours. In terms of my current open trades, I'm speculating heavily on the value of USDC reclaiming its peg. If we check back in on that trade just to see what the final numbers are at the end of today's video, it's trying to break out right now, but it's interesting. Basically, it's been held in this range because one of the things that people don't realize, I guess, about USDC at these prices is currently, if you buy one USDC, you can currently go on Circle's website and redeem it for $1. So now what you've got is a bunch of whales holding the price of USDC down so that then they can buy USDC up, buy it very significantly in large quantities, and go straight over to their website and then redeem it all for real money and then buy the dip again, because you're making every single time about 6-7% profit every single time that you buy one USDC coin and redeem it through Circle's website. Now, it's likely, if this peg does not resume in the next 24-hour period, that Circle will shut down their website, because the amount of money being sent through that right now is insanely large, and it will be very, very costly for them, and it'll essentially suck away their treasury. So it's interesting. What's happening on the market right now is very interesting. Stay tuned, subscribe, drop a like on today's video. I'll be updating you as soon as possible on any major developments. But in the meantime, go to cryptosavingexpert.com. You'll see it on my t-shirt right here. We're actually giving away t-shirts and money and all sorts of stuff on cryptosavingexpert.com. So go check it out. All you need to do to be in with a chance of winning $1,000 each month, because we're giving away $500 to 2 different accounts on the website each month, is essentially go to the website, make an account, and then you're entered. We'll send you an email if you win. 2 people each month win $500, or maybe this month we're going to do 5 to 200, or 200 to 5 people. I don't know. Can't remember. Either way, have a great day, everybody. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.